I thought my life was perfect. I had a loving husband, Theo, a beautiful home, and a life many would envy. We were high school sweethearts, the couple everyone looked up to. For 15 years, it felt like a fairy tale. But fairy tales aren't real, are they? I learned that the hard way. It started subtly. Late nights at the office became more frequent. Business trips popped up out of nowhere. When he was home, he was distant, his phone glued to his hand. I tried to ignore the gnawing feeling in my gut. I told myself I was being paranoid, that I needed to trust him. After all, this was Theo, my Theo. He would never hurt me. One evening, I decided to surprise him at work. I packed his favorite dinner and drove to his office, a smile on my face. But when I got there, his car was gone. His secretary, a kind older woman named Carol, looked at me with pity. "He left early, Ivy," she said, her voice soft. "He said he had a family emergency." My blood ran cold. There was no emergency. I had just spoken to my parents and his. The lies started to unravel. I found a receipt for a fancy dinner for two at a restaurant we'd never been to. A text message notification flashed on his phone late one night from a name I didn't recognize, complete with a heart emoji. Each discovery was a small cut, slowly bleeding me dry. The man I shared my bed with was a stranger. I confronted him. At first, he denied everything. He called me crazy, insecure. He twisted my words until I almost believed him. But I held my ground, presenting the evidence I had gathered. Finally, the dam broke. He confessed. Her name was Clara. She was younger, a new hire at his company. He said it was just a fling, that it meant nothing. He swore it was over. I wanted to believe him. I really did. The thought of throwing away 15 years was unbearable. We decided to try marriage counseling. For a few months, it seemed like we were making progress. He was more present, more affectionate. The late nights stopped. He left his phone unlocked on the counter. I started to breathe again to hope that we could rebuild what had been broken. But the trust was gone, replaced by a constant hum of anxiety. I found myself checking his location, scrolling through his call logs when he was in the shower. I hated the person I was becoming, this suspicious, untrusting woman. This wasn't me. And deep down, I knew this wasn't us anymore. The final blow came on our anniversary. He had planned a romantic weekend getaway, a chance to reconnect. He said all the right things, but his eyes were empty. That night, while he was sleeping, I felt an irresistible urge to check his work email on his laptop, and there it was. An email chain between him and Clara, sent just that afternoon. They weren't just planning a rendezvous. They were talking about their future, about how he was going to leave me after he let me down gently. The email detailed their plans, their pet names for each other, their shared jokes at my expense. He called me his ball and chain. Reading those words felt like a physical blow. The air left my lungs. In that moment, the man I had loved for half my life died. The fairy tale didn't just end. It burst into flames, leaving nothing but ash. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. A strange calm washed over me. I packed a small bag, took my car keys, and walked out of that hotel room and out of his life. I drove for hours with no destination in mind, the city lights a blur through my tear-filled eyes. I didn't leave him a note. His email to Clara was note enough. The days that followed were a blur of lawyers, paperwork, and heartbreaking conversations with family and friends. Moving out of the home we built together was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. Every object held a memory, now tainted, but with each box I packed, I felt a little lighter. I was packing away the lies, the betrayal, the person I used to be. Finding my footing again was a slow, painful process. There were days I couldn't get out of bed, overwhelmed by grief and anger. But I had an amazing support system. My friends and family rallied around me, reminding me of my strength, my worth. I started therapy, which was a lifeline. It gave me a safe space to process the trauma and rediscover the woman who had gotten lost in her marriage. I started doing things just for me. I took a pottery class I'd always been curious about. I went on solo hikes, finding solace in nature. I reconnected with old friends and made new ones. Slowly, piece by piece, I began to rebuild my life, a life that was truly mine. I learned that I was not defined by my relationship or by his betrayal. I was Ivy, and that was enough. It's been 2 years now. I live in a cozy apartment in a city that I decorated myself. I have a job I love, and my weekends are filled with laughter and adventure. Do I still have bad days? Of course. Healing isn't a straight line. But now, when I look in the mirror, I see a survivor. I see a woman who faced the ultimate betrayal and came out stronger, more resilient, and more in love with her own life than ever before. Theo, I hear he's still with Clara. I honestly don't think about them much. My energy is focused on my own happiness, my own future. My story is not about a cheating husband. It's about a woman who found her power in the wreckage and built a new, more beautiful life from the ashes. It's a story of survival, of rebirth, and of the incredible strength of the human spirit. And, if you're going through something similar, please know this. You are not alone, and you will get through this. Your best chapter is still unwritten. Thank you so much for listening to my story. It wasn't easy to share, but I hope it can help someone else feel less alone. If you found some value in this, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more content. Your support means the world to me. See you next time.